Hey, welcome back YouTube. I thought I'd do a little pickups video, just showing you the stuff that I had in now. Obviously, I've kind of told you already about the Dragoons and the horse artillery, but I'll just give you certainly the horse artillery I'll just kind of glance over, because obviously, apart from a little bit of a tale about them, you've obviously seen that before. So we'll actually start with the horse artillery. So basically, like I said, I need a unit of horse artillery. I've only ever done one unit of horse artillery before, and that was part of my 3rd Cavalry Division, which of course is actually part of 3rd Corps, but which was loaned to the forces at Waterloo. I think my first, although I haven't actually double checked this, it was kind of one of those points in time where you think you go by gut feeling. Now theoretically I could be wrong, but at the end of the day it doesn't really make any difference. But basically, when it comes to horse artillery, Perry's basically do 4 models in total, of which they're basically just carbon copies of each other. So you have basically a 6-pounder loading and a 6-pounder firing, and you have a howitzer loading and a howitzer firing. Now I think, if I'm right, I've basically brought the other way round. So I think in my first unit I had cannon firing and howitzer loading, and in this particular session they're going to be the other way round, so howitzer firing and cannon loading. But other than that, obviously they're exactly the same. And the only extra thing is that I did pick up a front rank artillery officer to go on the base, as I normally do, with my 1 officer per two guns. Okay, so that's the horse artillery out of the way. Now the second pack, I wouldn't say it's an impulse buy, but it's just something that I've wanted to get for a long time and I keep forgetting about it. It's basically just a box of sergeants. Sergeants are very handy to have, to make your line battalions look unique. And I'm always up for that, the same as with officers. And this is basically just a box of 6 NCO. Like I say, it's something that I've been after for a long time, but I just keep forgetting about them. So I'll just give you a quick look through them. So we've got one with a Porte Fanian. They're really cool figures. They're definitely going to get utilised. We have another one on a greatcoat here. It's a nice sort of selection of greatcoated and ungreatcoated too. So here we have one ungreatcoated. I think there's 3 and 3. So here's another in a greatcoat, and one with and one without. So that is the NCOs pack, and obviously they don't really have a point in this particular project that I'm doing, but they will in my next one, which will be the revisiting of 3rd Corps. So that's those. Now finally we have the Dragoons. Now I immed and ahed about what to do with this last unit of French Dragoons. I basically ended up getting Dragoons at rest, so all these horses are in this position. Whoops. And you might notice it's actually the same horse as what my divisional commander of the 11th is actually on, so it's the same horse. But I must admit, I was looking at the pluses and the minuses of having horses done this way, and I think I'm actually starting to like it, because if you think about it, the things that slow you down when you're doing cavalry are saddles when you're doing the horses, and obviously the troops, and obviously painting the saddles themselves as well. So when you have a horse that's got nothing on it other than just the reins, that means you can get through the horse really, really quickly, and you don't have to worry about, you either wait and do the saddle last, or you sort of put the base colours on as you're doing the horse, and then you might get paint back on it, or vice versa. you know, the saddle paint on the horse, or the horse paint on the saddle. So by having a horse that's completely bare backed and only having its basic reins on, you should theoretically be able to get through a lot quicker and have a much neater paint job. So that's really handy. I could probably kick out all 12 of those horses if I did them in a sort of similar sort of colour. You know, maybe, I know French horses were more likely to be of mixed colours, because the French didn't look after their horses very well. Not in comparison to the British anyway. So you know, I'm sure I'll probably do them in a mixture of sort of you know, chestnuts and bays or something. So all these guys are basically in the same position apart from the command. So here's a view at one of the troopers. You can see another bonus to it being on the saddle is that there's actually not much saddle to actually paint. So you're actually only painting exactly what you need to paint, and not end up painting the saddle and then putting the trooper on. So that's another kind of bonus, I suppose. Some of them have got a little bit of a bent sabre, which I'm going to have to sort of work out. But other than that, they're pretty basic, really. But they are nice troops. And then the command, we have a officer, the bugler, and the standard. Now, of course, in a French cavalry regiment, we don't have to worry about not using the standard, because obviously I give my French cavalry standards. So here we have the standard bearer, and because these guys came with brass rods rather than metal rods, I actually was able to pre-cut him his standard, because obviously cavalry standards are a little bit shorter, in fact actually quite a bit shorter than I normally make my infantry ones, because A, the flag's smaller, and B, they're on horseback, so I don't want a giant 6-foot pole when they're on horseback. So I think this is a perfect sort of height, maybe even still a little bit tall, but it'll look nice. And I'm actually going to utilise my brass eagles on these guys, so that should be pretty cool. So that's the standard bearer, or the eagle bearer. Then we have the trumpeter, another nice position. Nice that he's kind of at rest and not sort of tooting his horn in the guy next to him's ear. So nice bugler. Now, I'd say the only disappointment of this regiment is the officer. I'm not a big fan of his position. It's too sort of set in stone and unnatural. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend his arm down, and hopefully that'll make it look a little bit more natural. But other than that, it's still a beautiful figure. It's got a nice plumage, and obviously front rank, so you can't really go wrong with front rank. But I have found occasionally some of their officer figures are a little bit funky. But this one's not so much funky, but more just in not an amazing position. So that is the Dragoons, and that is the end of this little pickups video. Actually, thinking about it, I have actually got a couple more books in, which I could just quickly show you. Now, let's find them first. So the first one I picked up, which is another one of those Historia and Collections books, although this time it's in a smaller format. So I managed to pick up this one here, Artillery Volume 2, which strangely enough actually is to do with the horse artillery, so I suppose that's a little bit of good luck. But again, you know, basically if I just zoom out a little bit, right, should I pull the camera back? You can see that it's all the classic standard of detail. And the thing that I like particularly about this particular book is that it actually also covers their wagonry and the cannons themselves, so it gives you like a good view of how they're coloured, and also in my case a good way of how they're hitched together as well, because you can get a good look at how all the ropes go, which would be really handy for when I do my field ambulance and my my surgeon's wagon. Yeah, here we go, like a picture of the howitzer, for instance. So yeah, really cool book. It wasn't particularly expensive either. I think it was like £10 or £11, which I thought was very reasonable. And really happy to have another more modern book on French artillery, because the only book I had on French artillery before that was actually came out, I think it came out, was it before I was born? Let's just double check. Yeah, it's actually it's first published in 1970. This book here. Now I do recommend this book if you're doing French at some point, because there doesn't seem to be that many books around to do with French artillery, and well, even though this book is really old and most of the pictures in it are actually models, but you know, like for instance these are actually like model kits, which is quite interesting. But it does have nice diagrams, lots of information, and also some really nice colour plates going through it. So it's definitely a cool book if you can get it. I mean, I found this second hand on Amazon, and it wasn't very expensive. It was like maybe £5, something like that. So yeah, I recommend this book if you can find it. It's French Napoleonic Artillery by Michael Head. And it's quite a small book. So there's that. And now the second book is, it's kind of more reading material than reference material, to tell the truth. But I've actually seen this a few times on Amazon myself, and Grandad's Art Space mentioned to me in a comment that he came across it again. And then I went to it and noticed that the price had kind of gone down a little bit since the last time I saw it, so I decided to pick it up. It's kind of like the memoirs of a French naval gunner officer throughout the campaign of 1813, but it's quite an interesting book. It's got lots of like illustrations and stuff like that, and it should be quite an interesting little read. So yeah, that's Napoleon's Marine Artillery. So that's yeah, that's the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you all next time. Bye bye.